Hello. Hello and welcome everybody. We have a brand new episode of Retake for you guys today. Hello, my name is Alex Shinkari Erdenberger. I'm joined today by myself. Me, myself, and I. It's alright. We did have a lot of busy people today. I'm feeling a little sick myself, so I'd rather run through this as quickly and still being as entertaining as I possibly can be. Hello, welcome to another episode of Retake. Once again, my name is Alex Shinkari Erdenberger. We're going to be talking about the North American and European LCS this week. We're going to be breaking down my favorite games this week, talking about picks that were particularly interesting, talk about things that made us disappointed, and make some predictions about the coming week. We're going to start off with the news. Some notable news for this week is that in the game of FlyQuest versus Cloud9, Riot utilized a new tool called the Deterministic Disaster Recovery Tool, which some people are referring to as the Chrono Shift. This tool was developed in response. It seemed to be in response to a lot of game-breaking bugs that had to make games completely remade. Now, what's different about this tool as opposed to completely remaking a game is that this tool will now rewind a game minutes, seconds to before the bug happened, so that if it were to happen again, they'd be able to, constantly do that. I don't know if this is how that's going to help, but, per se, fix the bug and then rewind the game to the point before the bug happened. This definitely bodes well for games in the future, because usually when you're playing a game of LCS, you're playing a professional game of League of Legends, you don't want to completely remake a game when a bug happens. Usually that's bad for the winning team, and usually that can, decide some games and get some, very upset fans. The next thing I'd like to talk about is that Team Liquid has decided to stick with Golden Glue permanently in their mid lane position, as opposed to switching between Link and Golden Glue. Link will be leaving the gaming house and will remain as a permanent sub, but as for right now, they are going to be sticking with Golden Glue. Next we're going to move on to our second segment, which is Series of the Week. That is going to be I'm going to be talking about North America and EU, the favorite best of threes from this week. I really have to talk about G2 versus H2K. This game was very, very good. This match was incredible. If you rewatch any match from this week, this would be one of them, I would totally say. Game 1, G2 shows off its incredible macro skills along with the power that Camille brings. She had a decent laning phase, although being camped. She was still able to, did a very good job on her being able to split push and, force. Like, G2 was posturing about Baron the whole the entire time, not giving H2K a clear avenue of winning. H2K a clear avenue of going in, because if they go in on Baron, Camille pushes to end the game and could possibly do that, But if you go in and move to stop Camille, then you give G2 a Baron, which is what you don't want to give a big macro team. Then entirely was very good. There are a lot of times where I say I boiled it down to champion select because you can't let Camille through, but this was a lot more than just Camille. Game 2 wasn't really decided much by that Camille pick, even though G2's composition was definitely greedy. I definitely, if you're trying this, if you're gonna do something in solo queue, I recommend against 480 carries and Shen. It was decided, however, by H2K getting a lead early and being able to snowball that victory, constantly denying G2 any sort of kills or decent team fights that they wanted. It's very hard to come back from being behind when you're, 3-4 carries and a tank. Game 3 was interesting to say the least. Throughout the game, H2K looked like it was winning, but G2 was able to find even trades and team fights and was able to find a game-winning team fight towards the end. The match from NA that I'd like to talk about is FlyQuest versus Cloud9, and this was definitely going to be an interesting matchup. A lot of people joked that this was going to be Cloud9 versus Cloud9, and that's definitely true, considering that we had a bunch of old members of Cloud9 versus basically the new Cloud9, and this was definitely a very good a match to watch. looking at game one, if you had looked at just the stats alone and didn't know the outcome, you'd think that FlyQuest would win. 2K gold lead at the very end, but Cloud9 was able to capitalize on mistakes that FlyQuest made towards the end of the game, and was able to find a game-winning team fight. And you know, when the games go that late against these types of teams, against high-caliber teams, you really have to watch out for that kind of stuff. To really watch out for making sort of big mistakes that a lot of us other teams can capitalize on, and Cloud9 is definitely one of those teams. Game 2, FlyQuest is definitely, again, a similar fashion to game 1, this time slipping up a lot less and being able to take objectives early, cementing a lead, playing the composition that does well ahead, keep that lead up, and make no mistakes. Or I don't want to say no mistakes, but definitely making a lot less mistakes than they did before. Game 3, this game was very even throughout the entire match. It wasn't really sure how Cloud9 was going to win this game, or how FlyQuest was going to win this game, but it was very clear once Cloud9 took Elder Drake. They take an Elder Drake about 38 minutes into the game, I want to say. Sounds about right. And they were able to push a lot of turrets off of that and get a huge advantage, because usually when you fight a team, you don't want to fight them when they have like 2 dragons and an Elder Drake. That's especially if one of those dragons is Infernal Dragon. So being able to push objectives as 5 fairly easily, they did lose a couple turrets as High decided, like, okay, I'm going to split push and try to keep them, because we're not going to be able to fight them 5v5 underneath the turret. So they were able to trade a little bit back and forth, but they were able to capitalize Elder Drake by pushing objectives and being able to pick up a Baron for basically free. After that, they continued sieging turrets until there was basically that final team fight inside Cloud9's base, not Cloud9, FlyQuest's base, where Cloud9 was able to pick up a kill with their strong team fighting composition. That was able to decide the game and close out the whole match. Definitely, that's another game that you guys should go back and watch. A very clean game, a very nice game. The next thing I'd like to talk about, interesting picks. Moving on to our next topic, we always see the pros trying to counter the meta with their oddball picks. We're going to talk about what picks this week excited me and it made me go, This week I'd like to talk about RETAKE, pick from Cloud9 against Team Liquid. He didn't do too well against Lorlo in lane, and, I can kind of see where he wanted to go with this pick. A stun bot that can peel very easily and be just a very huge frontline tank against for that Ashe in the backline that also complements very well Renekton's ultimate, as well as the slows that Ashe provides. It synergizes a lot with the team, and when you don't have access to Maokai, Renekton seems like a fairly decent pickup. He has a health increasing buff, he has lots of healing. Seems like it should be about the same, but it really wasn't. Renekton doesn't have as much as a hard engage as Maokai does, and he doesn't have that big damage reduction ultimate. He doesn't have as much healing as Maokai does, so he wasn't as good. Usually you have to build Renekton more heavy in damage, whereas, especially early game, whereas Maokai can just build defensive, farm up, and maybe have 1, maybe 2 items and still be useful. It was still good to see an interesting pick come out this week, so props to you, Ray, for being a spicy meatball. Next, we'd like to move on to a segment that I talk about very frequently as being that time where you have to, you get not so great a grade on a test, and you come home and you look at your parents in the eye and say, "Oh, I got a 60. I didn't study for it, and I cramped. I froze up during the test," and you look at them with your puppy dog eyes and hoping they're not going to be angry at you, and they just say, "I'm not angry, son. I'm just disappointed." And we'll be discussing maybe a team, a player, a champion pick this week that has made us disappointed. I'm disappointed in a lot of things, and I think more so than ever, I think I'm more angry about people letting through Camille and Rengar. It's not 7.3 yet. We're still on 7.2, and seeing teams, especially very good teams, give very good players access to Camille and Rengar. Now, there are some arguments to when you can let in powerful champions or when you can let in powerful picks, and we talk about that a lot when we talk about people who let through LeBlanc, people who let through Kha'Zix, people who let through support picks like Malzahar, even letting through Varus or Corki in the mid lane sometimes. But when we talk about Camille and we talk about Rengar, we talk about two champions that absolutely just can't go through, especially in lots of situations. There were a lot of picks over this week, and even over the past and even over the last week, and even the past few weeks, where Rengar and Camille have gone through. And, we've seen the results. Lots of games have been decided because Camille and Rengar have gone through. I am happy to see the changes in 7.3, and I'm excited to see what that does to the picks and ban phase coming in the future. Maybe we see Camille more often because, she's not as broken, or maybe we don't see Camille at all. The same thing with Rengar. But when you see a champion that has a 70.6% win rate and Camille being nearly undefeated in NA and EU, you have to stop and say, maybe we shouldn't let this champion through. We might be giving up maybe a comfort pick or a pick that we might have lost to in the other game, but we just can't let this champion through. They're not LeBlanc, they're not Kha'Zix. They very well carry the game, run away with certain games. But with that, I'd like to move on to our final topic of the night, and that is going to be talking about what has got us hyped. All right, we're going to be making some predictions for the future. I'm going to be talking about some matches that you guys should be watching in the coming weeks and making predictions about the outcomes. This week has a match I am totally hyped for. I think I'm more hyped about this game than I was about FlyQuest versus Cloud9, and that is Unicorns of Love versus G2 Esports. This game is going to be absolutely incredible. Unicorns of Love, that very aggressive, very heavy team fighting aspect versus G2's heavy macro style game. And this game really depends on what type of team shows up. If we see the Unicorns that play incredibly aggressive and G2 is playing to their heavy macro game, being able to punish them for maybe their team 5v4 fighting in mid and being able to get a turret off of that they have a split push up in the top lane. This the other thing that maybe G2 will be able to win 2-1. Or if Unicorns is able to capitalize and punish G2 for constantly not being together as 5 and being able to capitalize on that, then they will be able to win 2-1. I honestly think this is going to be a close match. I think that it's just going to be nuts. Just go watch it. It's going to be amazing. It's also the first game of the week, so that's really something to look forward to. The problem is it also kind of casts a shadow on a game in the NA this week, and that's going to be TSM versus Cloud9, a classic matchup between two classic NA organizations. I think it really all comes down to what type of TSM team shows up, less so than what type of Cloud9 team shows up. TSM has been a little shaky over the past couple of weeks. We've seen them play against teams that we would normally say like, oh yeah, easy peasy. Echo Fox, Phoenix One. These are easy wins for TSM, and we see them faltering. We see them even losing the game. The recent match against Echo Fox, they lost 2-0. And this could be a downfall of TSM, or Echo Fox doing really well. They are second place. I don't want to say that they're completely terrible, because they most certainly aren't. But TSM really needs to bring, if they ever needed to bring their A game, this is the time to bring their A game. They really cannot be making any huge type of mistakes here. They need to be bringing their A game, like I said before. No slip ups, no huge mistakes that Cloud9 can easily capitalize on, and TSM will probably be able to win the match 2-1. If not, they slip up a lot, they're making lots of clumsy mistakes, then Cloud9 wins 2-0, hands down. But that does it for us today. I apologize for this short episode. I'm not feeling particularly well. Excuse me. So once again, I'd like to thank EGF. If you liked our show, make sure to follow us on Twitch. Place that little follow button, which is now above us, because Twitch likes moving stuff around. You can find us on Facebook, Electronic Gaming Federation, on Twitter at official EGF, YouTube at Electronic Gaming Federation. All the links are down below, so make sure you can go and click them. I'd also like to thank once again the YouTube channel AgroFox. They've been giving I've been using them for royalty-free music. It's really high quality stuff. Like, I'd probably listen to this stuff like normally, like when I'm not not for the stream. Like, this is really good stuff. He has a lot of music over there, so go check him out. I'll provide a link in a Twitter, which you can go follow me. I have a Twitter as well. That's at Shinkari Alex. So make sure to give me a follow if you want to talk about League of Legends and stuff like that. I like tweeting during the matches that I'm watching. But that does it for us here. From all of us here at EGF, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. You can join us next Monday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm Alex Shinkari Erdenberger. Thank you for joining me. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.